This video is not a review for the Adidas Supernova Rise. Instead, this is going to be a bit of a celebration of this as my shoe of the year because I've made a ton of content already about this shoe this year, including multiple reviews. Back in March, I made my initial impressions review of this shoe, which was very positive. And in the beginning of June, I made a 200-mile review, really a durability check-in on the shoe, because I ran in it that much over those 3 months that it just really, really impressed me. And in between that, I made a bunch of versus videos or comparison videos comparing this with a bunch of other daily trainers that came out earlier in the year. And it was really one of my favorite shoes. This was a shoe from my first run that I knew was going to be high on my top 10 shoes of the year. I thought it could be in that top slot, but I wanted to see what else came out that year. But, you know, we had a lot of great shoes in 2024, but this one still stood on top for me. So let's get into why this shoe was so special for me in 2024. I've said multiple times, and I think pretty much anytime I've really talked about this shoe on this channel, that I wasn't surprised that this shoe was released. I was really surprised that Adidas released this shoe. And as I've said also multiple times, Adidas was known for very stiff, very spring-like resiliencer and injury return shoes that didn't have a lot of ground feel, didn't have a lot of flex. That's just what Adidas was doing. And then they put this shoe out, which is kind of the opposite of all of that. And it's been very brilliant. So I've enjoyed this shoe because it is so flexible. It's on the softer side. It's meant for comfort over really anything else. So this is a shoe that's great for easy running, which is what I want this style shoe to be. I don't need another fast shoe. I don't need a shoe that's going to allow me to do tempo running or threshold running or max effort running because I have those shoes. But I need a good shoe that's going to be comfortable, that's going to allow me to get my easy run in and allow me to stay easy. Because I think as runners, we often don't really go easy enough on our easy runs. I think they become, a little bit faster than they really should be. So when I find a shoe that really encourages me to go slow, to stay easy, I really embrace that shoe. And this was definitely one of the best shoes for that because of a lot of the technology and engineering in this shoe. Let's get into the technology and engineering of this shoe and why I think this shoe is so special. So the first thing about this shoe that I think really stands out is this midsole foam, the gray foam that you see here. This is a supercritical PIBA-based foam that Adidas sourced from their suppliers that is based around comfort. It's not a super foam that's in Adidas's race shoes. This is not Lightstrike Pro. This is not a version of Lightstrike Pro that's been sort of dulled down for training. This is a foam that Adidas sourced specifically for comfort and training, easy miles, which that alone is a big deal to me because any PIBA foam that I've run in, I have found that I recover very well from it. Some PIBA foams better than others. But generally, PIBA foams will treat my legs and my feet pretty well. And after a long run, even if it's an easy run, just a long run, I recover quite nicely. And this was a foam that I found very comfortable, very smooth, but also I did recover very well from this foam. And that is a huge gain for me in a easy run shoe, particularly a volume training shoe, that if I was in a marathon build, this is a shoe that I'm doing big kilometers or miles in every week. So the ability to recover very well from all that easy running is super important. And this shoe ticked that box. But PIBA foams tend to maybe pack out a little bit, or they tend to lose some of their pop after, the initial, 80K or 50 miles or so, maybe 100 miles, 160K, something like that. They pack out, they lose a little of their life. This foam has been very consistent to me. It has packed out a little bit over the 200 plus miles I've done in this shoe, but it still remains very cushioned, very comfortable underfoot. And one of the pieces of engineering that I think augments this supercritical PIBA infused foam is this yellow part, these support rods that you can see on the bottom of this shoe. This is a very Adidas engineering solution to really make this softer, airy Piba foam have more life than it really should. This yellow foam on this shoe acts fundamentally as a carrier foam. Now, we're very familiar with carrier foams on shoes. We've seen it many, many times. Think back to the Nike Pegasus Turbo 1 or 2. You had ZoomX on top, which was the fancy foam, the fun foam. You had React below that, which took the edge off, gave more durability, gave some structure to the ZoomX foam. You can look at the Adidas Boston 12, which had Lightstrike Pro on top, the really energetic racing foam from Adidas, but below that they put Lightstrike 2.0, a big chunk in the heel going into the forefoot, which again added durability to the shoe, but also took the edge off it. The Boston 12 was a trainer, so you didn't want all of the explosiveness of Lightstrike Pro. You wanted to kind of dull that down a little bit, and that's what a carrier foam is meant to do. Give more durability, take the edge off the foam a little bit, and provide some structure to the foam. So the engineering solution in this shoe, the yellow foam that you see here, is really a carrier foam level, but it's in rods. So Adidas took the inspirations from the energy rods in the Adizero shoes, which are carbon fiber or fiberglass fingers basically that sit under the metatarsals of the foot, and they kind of riffed on that idea. So this yellow foam is an EVA foam. It's not a rigid piece of material. It's foam that sits under the tendons of the foot. So it sits between the metatarsals. And what that's doing is giving this supercritical Piba foam a little bit more structure. This shoe feels like there's more foam underfoot than there really is, because you get the softness, the bounce, and the feel of the supercritical Piba foam, but these rods are acting as a carrier foam and really allowing this to be a little bit more structured, giving you a little bit more support. So again, the mission for this shoe is comfort and support. A lot of this support is coming from these support rods in this yellow piece of foam. And it's a really, really unique engineering solution that I've not really seen anyone else do. There's one other key benefit to it. And that key benefit is what you're actually running on this shoe is the supercritical Piba foam, the fancy foam, the fun foam, the foam you want to be running on. Because between the rods is the Piba foam. It's the Dreamstrike Plus foam, which is the name of the Piba foam in this shoe. So what's directly under the outsole in this shoe is the Piba foam. So you're essentially running directly on the supercritical Piba foam. You're getting the fun foam directly underfoot, and you're getting that feel. And that's one thing that really adds to the overall feel and sort of rollingness and just comfort, softness of this shoe. But the support rods, that carrier foam, is there, but it's really, again, structuring it, supporting your foot, supporting those tendons between the metatarsals of the foot and allowing your foot to still flex but still be supported, but get the benefit of the softness and just the fun of running on this supercritical Piba Dreamstrike Plus foam. And it's that engineering solution that allows Adidas to make this a fairly low stack shoe. Now, according to Adidas, this is 26 mil of foam in the forefoot, 36 mil of foam in the heel, giving you a 10 mil drop, though a lot of places have measured this shoe at 34, 24. But regardless, this is around 25 or a little bit under millimeters of foam in the forefoot, which makes this in 2025 a very low stack shoe compared to the 33 plus mil shoes that you mostly see in this category of long run or cushion trainer. So the combination of the supercritical Piba blended foam with the support rods giving it more structure, the low to the ground feeling allows this shoe to be very flexible, allows you to have a lot of ground feel in this shoe, which is quite important given where Adidas is headed in 2025. And it's that softness and the flexibility that I think is why this shoe is so important for Adidas and why this shoe was really a kind of prologue of things to come for the brand. Now, back at the end of 2023, Adidas launched this shoe, the Evo 1, and this was their top-end, top-tier, elite-level race shoe, super shoe. It had a new version of Lightstrike Pro Evo, that was much softer, much more resilient. A very different Lightstrike Pro foam than we had known. Not the firmer, more spring-like foam, definitely a much softer foam. But that was a top tier shoe. It was an Adizero race shoe. It wasn't really meant for, everyone to own. But this shoe was meant for everyone. This is not an Adizero shoe. This is just an Adidas running shoe. This is the Supernova series, which has always been more of a budget trainer, traditionally in its history, or maybe a cushion trainer at one point in its history as well. So Adidas moving to a softer foam that's more flexible, I think back at the end of 2023 when this shoe debuted, I don't think anyone understood where this shoe fit into the overall direction of where Adidas is headed. But now in 2025, or entering 2025, where we have the Adios Pro 4 with the new formulation of Lightstrike Pro, which is much softer, much more bouncy, much more flexible, and the Adios Pro 4 relies a lot more on foot strength and allowing your foot to move fairly naturally in a high stack of foam. This shoe now makes a lot of sense because this shoe was the first Adidas shoe that was really leveraging flex and really getting runners used to running an Adidas shoe that was leveraging flex, that required you to have foot strength and build foot strength so that you can run in the new generation of Lightstrike Pro, and where Adidas seems to be going, where they're softening out all of their foams. Another thing that's really interesting about the Supernova Rise is that it's part of a larger family. There's actually 3 other Supernovas. Now, the Supernova family is a range of shoes that really covers a lot of boxes for different types of runners. The Rise being the flagship is that sort of neutral, stable shoe, or the neutral shoe that has a lot more ground feel. The Solution is the mild stability shoe, where they make the rods, the support rods in that shoe, a little bit more prevalent to give you a little bit more support in that shoe. The Stride is a budget version of the shoe, a lower cost option with just a little bit of Dreamstrike Plus under the forefoot. And the Prima is their sort of enhanced forefoot cushioning shoe, their kind of max stack version of Supernova, really for forefoot strikers. So you're really getting the maximum of Dreamstrike Plus foam and all of the feel of the engineering of the midsole. It is a quite interesting solution that the Supernova family offers all of these options. And that's why I just found this shoe just so fascinating. I loved running in it. It's everything I want in a shoe. Low to the ground, stable, flexible, gives me a lot of ground feel, allows my foot to flex, but then I'm getting the recovery of the PIBA-based foam with a little bit more support from the support rods. It just was a joy to run in. This was truly a shoe that was easy to get out the door and just get your run done. And like I said, that's what I want out of a shoe like this. I don't need a shoe that's going to cover every base. I need a shoe that's going to allow me to comfortably go, just get in all of those miles or kilometers every week in that easy pace, because that's, the bulk of what we should be doing as runners. And this was my 2024 shoe of the year. But the story's not over for this shoe, because in 2025, we have this shoe, the Supernova Rise 2. Now, there's very little differences in this shoe. The update is extremely minor. The biggest difference is the update to the upper being a little bit lighter. They're saying the shoe's 4% lighter. To my scale, it loses about 9 grams. You're never going to notice that on foot, but otherwise, I believe this is the same shoe. Same foam, same engineering, same shape, basically the same shoe, just in a 2025 version. Now, I'm going to be spending time in this shoe. I will have a review of the shoe. I don't expect it to be much different than the first Supernova, but I do think this shoe has a very important place in the Adidas running lineup into 2025 and beyond. And that's something I'll be talking a lot more about in 2025. Thank you for making it to the end of the video. If you find this content useful, consider subscribing. You'll see more content from me pop up in your feed. If not, drop a like on this video because it helps this channel continue to grow, which I always appreciate. And with that, I'll catch you in the next one.